Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. So before we begin the video today, I just want to remind everyone to go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment down below. Check the description of this video and all the other videos on my channel if you're in a position to help the channel grow in any way. I have links there for my Patreon, Teespring, and several other support links, as well as the usual advocacy links. With all that out of the way, folks, thank you for watching today, and let's get on with the video. Alright, so this video is going to be our long-awaited franchise ranking for Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is this Friday. I'm recording this on Tuesday. I had planned on doing this much closer to the franchise wars and the other franchise rankings that I had done, but I ran into computer issues with the other computer that I had, and then getting caught up after I got the new one in. So it just kind of got pushed back, and I decided, you know what, we're going to wait and do it on Friday the 13th like everybody else does, and cash in when all the rest of them go up. So this is going to be my franchise ranking, the way that I enjoy watching these movies. I'm not ranking them by the ones that are the best or the most accomplished or even fan favorites. This is my personal list, and it's ranked by the way that I enjoy them. There are going to be some on this one that most people are going to disagree with on this ranking. I already know that's coming. Please feel free to leave your rankings down below in the comments. And well, let's go ahead and get into it, and y'all can start the hate. Alright, so number 12 on our list is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't like the look of Jason. I can suspend disbelief enough to get Jason to from the one boat to the other boat to New York. Okay, whatever. The fact that they didn't actually shoot very much in New York, I don't care. A city's a city when it comes to the street levels. They did the Times Square thing, so you know, it's close enough to New York. I don't hate it because of that. But I don't like the look of Jason. I don't like any of the characters. I really don't think that the actor who played the uncle did a very good job in this. I don't like the Remy character in it. I find her boring. I find all the characters to be boring. The kills in it are somewhat imaginative, but they're not on par with things even in Part 7. So I just don't enjoy this one, and this was the one and only in this entire franchise that I really have to force myself to watch. So let's move on to number 11. Alright, so number 11 on our list is Jason Goes to Hell. I don't hate this one. But every time I watch it, I just get this feeling if it's a missed opportunity. They didn't explore the Crichton Duke character enough. That could have been a great antagonist that kept going. John D. LeMay does a good job with his part in it. It was really kind of cool seeing him when it first came out, seeing him in it after being in the TV series, which I loved as a kid. My thing with it is they took the mythology in the wrong direction. Friday the 13th movies, for the most part, should follow this Friday the 13th formula. A little deviation here, a little deviation there. Okay, but for the most part, you need to follow the formula, and they didn't with this one. And because it's a Jason movie, because it's a Friday the 13th franchise, that doesn't work for me. That said, I actually really like the mythology that they created. Just wish it wasn't a Friday the 13th. I just wish it wasn't Jason. If the killer who was blown up at the beginning of it and came back as through mystic powers had been part of the Evil Dead series, since they stuck the Necronomicon in there, that would have been cool. If it had been some voodoo, hoodoo, satanic practicing, serial killer, at the beginning they kill him, he comes back when the corner eats his still beating heart. The magic dagger only get his real body back through someone from his bloodline. All of that stuff would have been a really cool story and could have been a wonderful reoccurring franchise in its own right for New Line. And they stuck it in Jason and killed it off. So, because of that, even though I really love some elements of the movie, and the kills in this are great. The kills in this one are probably the reason that I can sit and watch this one, and it's just, it ranks here for me as a Friday the 13th movie. If it didn't have Jason in it, it would be a really good movie, and it would be one of those that I would love. So, it's number 11 for those reasons. Let's move on to number 10. So number 10 for me is Friday the 13th Part 7, A New Blood. Jason versus Carrie. The final fight, the final third of this movie, the final act of it, when it's him versus her, is great. The other 2/3 of it and the ending of it, I don't enjoy. I don't really care anything about the other characters in it. I don't think that the Doctor is very well written. I don't really like the way that he's played. I don't hate that actor. I've seen him in, Child of the 80s. I've seen him in several things, and a lot of times as a bad guy. And I don't think that he's a bad actor. I just think this is it's one of those that took so much time to get to the end, to get to the big fight, that the rest of the movie was just kind of scribbled out, and they didn't care. It's as bland as newsprint. It's not good. The MP2A, again, as they do with a lot of the movies on this list, probably all of them, but like the first one or so, just raked it over the coals. The kills are fairly memorable at times. But the thing that this movie is remembered for, and the only part of it that I really enjoy, is the fight scene. The way that they put Jason to rest at the end of it, I don't like. Awful lot of people popping up out of that lake. I don't really care much for that. I think it was a bad ending and kind of a cheap ending. And very much a letdown after the epic fight. I love the look of Jason. I like the way that Tina looks once the fight starts. I like all the stuff that she does to him, because she really fucks him up. She really is a fair fight with him. And that's great. But the rest of the movie is really not. I'm not one of those people who hate the way he was resurrected for this one. Actually, I kind of like that she was... I don't understand why she was trying to bring her father back that way, but you know what? She was emotional, and she was focusing her powers on the lake, and it's dumb, but it's not so dumb it doesn't fit with the rest of the franchise. And again, this is my favorite of the franchises, and I do really love this franchise. But let's move on to the next one. So number 9 on my list is the remake. I love the look of Jason. I think that the actor who played Jason did a great job in this one. Derek Mears is really good, and probably, dare I say it, is my favorite Jason. I really like the body language that he uses. I like the brutality. I like the fact that he moves really quickly but doesn't so much go into a full hard run. It's got a real coiled snake kind of, wild animal ready to leap feeling to it. And everything that happens before the credits is just absolutely just heart-pounding and awesome. And then you get to the main story and you have mostly boredom. I'm not going to hate on all the characters in it because at least they fucking tried with the characters. I do like the Asian stereotype character. Yeah, he was written in specifically to be that character. He was written in to be the stoner stereotype, the Asian stereotype, all of this, all of that stuff that they just put in the archetypes instead of having legitimate characters. Whatever. The stuff before the title sequence is awesome. It slows down to a drag, and while there are some really good and really brutal kills in it, even from there on, the chick that's water skiing and ends up underneath the dock when he stabs her in the top of the head and pulls her up, and you hear that plunk as her head hits as he pulls it out and her head hits the bottom of the dock, cracks me up. I like that one. There's several other things in it that I really do enjoy, but I don't really care much for it that much. It's mostly boring. The pacing on it could have been so much better. But again, I don't hate this one. There's absolutely nothing in this one that I hate. I know a lot of people hate on the taking the girl hostage because she looks kind of like his mother. Okay, I'm fine with that. It doesn't really bother me. The rationalizing by using the tunnels to get around, I actually kind of like that idea. I prefer the teleporting Jason concept where we don't know how he moves that way, but it's also kind of cool that they actually came up with a legitimate reason or workaround to it. So I'm cool with what it added. I'm just not cool with the way the pacing of it went. It was just slow. And I think Jared Padalecki actually did pretty good with it. I know some people hate him. Everybody hates Trent, but you're supposed to. So it's like Franklin from the first TCM. You're supposed to hate him. And the way that he pulls it off, actually, to me, I hate Trent, but I'm supposed to hate Trent. So he did it. So he did good getting me to hate him. So it's actually a plus to it. I love to hate him. I love to hate Franklin. One of my favorite characters in TCM. Why? Because he does exactly what the point of the character is. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the remake, and let's move on to number 8. So here's where the list gets really off the rails for a lot of people. Part 4, the final chapter, is number 8 on my franchise ranking. Again, most of the characters are... The only character that I actually care at all about in the entire movie is the Corey Feldman character, is the Tommy Jarvis character. I don't care anything about his mother. I don't care anything about his sister. The hunting guy who's hunting Jason, I don't like. The Ted character, I don't like. I don't like any of the other ones at all. And I personally absolutely cannot stand Crispin Glover. I don't find him funny. I don't find him engaging. I love Back to the Future, but I hate his character in it. I hated him in everything that I have seen him in. I just don't like him. There's something about him that just rubs me the wrong way. And this movie, he's way too front and center for me on. So that loses it at least 3 places, just him. The dance is shit. I absolutely cannot stand that. The whole scene in the back of the car just makes my teeth itch. It's just... ugh. But this movie is... despite how much I absolutely hate him in this role, and the way that this whole movie plays around him for a lot of it, Tom Savini's back. They did They absolutely went Tom Savini on this movie. Really and truly, the kills are great. The kill of Jason in it is great. I think Corey Feldman's performance is a little bit uneven through the first part of the movie. The ending of it, once he actually goes in and starts shaving his head and to distract Jason, that whole last section of it is awesome. I think a lot of people have so much nostalgia for this because it's cute little baby face Corey Feldman that they don't see that he's not a great actor in this. However, what he learned on set here made him a much, much better child actor as he went forward with the Goonies and other things. I love him in the Goonies, but I think he does a great job with his acting. Just don't think he does a great job acting through this one. So for me, this one ranks pretty low. I know most people love this one. It's their favorite and think it's the best. But for me, Crispin Glover, bland other characters, and the first 2 acts of it, Corey Feldman is good in one scene and not good in another. And for me, it ranks pretty damn low. So let's move on to the next one. So this one's another one that's going to kind of throw some people on it. I know this is a fan film, and I know this is a 2-part fan film. I think they're even working on another part of it now. But the Never Hike movies, for me, they rank here. There's not enough total overall kills, and you can only do so much when you're making a movie for YouTube and all of that. But I think both of these are just really good. I like the portrayal of Jason. I like the buildup of tension. I like the way that it's paced. The first one at an hour was just the perfect length for that story. The one in the snow is really cool. Pun intended, even though it wasn't pun intended. I really enjoy that. And I think these are really good. It was really cool for the twist on the first one to see Tom Matthews come back. He's probably my favorite Tommy, just because that's one of those movies that I really enjoy. It's much further up the list than where this one sits, but that's only because I have so much love for the rest of them. Because this movie right here really is... I haven't seen an excessive amount of fan films, but this is definitely the best one I have ever seen. And it's absolutely on par with many theatrical releases and many studio releases. And hell, I rank it above quite a few in this franchise. So that's my thoughts on that one. Let's go ahead and move on. So number 6 on our list is Friday the 13th Part 3D. Start off with the fact that I love the Shelley character. I understand where he's coming from in a lot of ways, and I really like him, and I really find him very endearing. I really like I like most of the characters in this one, actually. Chris is kind of I like the biker gang. They amuse me. I like the portrayal of Jason. I love the fact that this is the one that he gets his iconic hockey mask in. The 3D effects in it haven't aged super well, but at the same time, they're really not that much worse than a lot of others. The handstand body split kill is one of my favorites in the entire franchise. I like the look of Jason in it. I like the look of Jason without the mask in it. I think the hatchet or axe to the head makes a really iconic mark in the mask, but I think it was kind of a weak... And I get that they, I think one of the reasons why Part 4 takes place directly after Part 3 is because it was kind of a weak kill on Jason, but, when she hits him and his hands pop up for a second, that's great. I love the twisted jump scare or the twist on the jump scare at the end, where this time it's Mama popping out of the lake, even though it's dream sequence and all that. But I really enjoy that. So this movie is a little bit slow compared to the first two, or compared especially to the second one. But for me, I really enjoyed this one, and that's where I rank it. So, alright, so number 5 on my list here for the countdown is Part 2. Speaking of in the last one, this one is one of those leading into the ones that I really love. From here on out, the top 5 in this franchise are really good for me, and ones that I can plug in at any time and just watch, and comfort level movies for me. And Part 2, while I love this one, I don't love Sackhead Jason. I really think that the small frame, the sack, and the look when they pull the sack off, kind of push this one down the list for me. The kills are good. I love the double spear kill, especially the look on the girl's face when she sees the spear coming and she knows, but she can't do anything to get the guy. The wheelchair kill that everybody else loves, yeah, I love that one too. The fact that Jenny is so smart, and she's probably my favorite final girl in the franchise for the most part. There is another contender, and I'll get to that when I get to it. But I really like her character. You really feel for her character. She's really smart, and not only is she like intelligent smart, but she's also worldly smart and thinks on her feet. And I really like that about her. She is really one of the best final girls. And it's really a really good entry for me. And 5 out of 13 can seem kind of low with the way that as much as I enjoy it, but the ones above this are the ones that really that really have a lot of nostalgia for me. This is probably a better made movie than a couple of the ones above it, but at the same time, it's number 5 on my list because I enjoy the other ones more. Alright, so number 4 on the list, and this is another controversial one, is Part 5, A New Beginning. I love Part 5. Part 5 is a horror comedy. If you really look at it in that, yeah, it's kind of sleazy, it's kind of cheesy, it's, some of the kills are on cam, some of the kills are off camera, some of them are bloodless that shouldn't be bloodless, but the one thing that this movie does that so many movies fail at is the comic relief element. Ethel and Junior absolutely crack me up. Every time they're on screen, no matter what it is they're doing, it's absolutely hysterical to me. The scene at the beginning of it where Vic kills, with the axe and all that sets the whole thing off. Reasonable suspension of disbelief. Okay, this dude shouldn't have had an axe. Kid shouldn't have been messing with him, but, whatever. You had to get the movie started some way. The whole thing where people hate on the fact that it's Roy and not Jason, spoiler if you haven't seen it, is just BS. It's a dude in a hockey mask fucking people up. All the elements of a Friday the 13th are there. They just threw in a twist ending to harken back to the first one to try to set up something different for the second one. And while it's probably not the best way it could have been done, I don't think it's near as horrible as so many people make it out to be. I think most people are just butthurt because it's not Jason. And you know what? Get over it, because the kills in this are good. The secondary characters in this are somewhat bland. You don't really get to know a lot of them. But none of them are ones that you just dislike. The final girl in it, Pam, is weak, and Reggie gets on my nerves. That squeal, scream kind of But, you know, if it wasn't for Reggie and Pam, this would probably be number 1 or number 2 on my list and not number 4. Just because of all the things that are in it that are good, and Ethel and Junior just absolutely cracked me up from moment 1 they're on film right up until the end, and even their deaths, especially Junior's, the head bouncing when it, you know, that's just great. So, moving on, our next one. So, you think the last one was controversial? Wait on this one. So, number 3 on my list is Jason X. Again, this is a horror comedy. It's cheesy, it's cheap, it's straight out of the 50s. If Roger Corman's name was on this, it wouldn't surprise me a bit in the world. It's just plain dumb fun. The whole movie is a joke. The whole movie has got this light tone to it. The snarky comments, somewhat a product of its time with that, but for this one they kind of work. I like all the secondary characters on it. The director guy, when, you know, it's okay guys, he just wanted his machete back. You know, that absolutely cracks me up. When the body falls forward out of the freezer and cuts the dude's arm off, and they tell him, you know, basically just shut up and deal with it. You know, we'll put it back on when we get back to the ship, and they literally just do. Yeah, Uber Jason does kind of look like a Power Rangers villain, but at the same time, the face of it is really cool. The body on it, yeah, definitely Power Ranger-y, but again, if you look at this like a horror comedy, it's actually funny as hell. I love the Marine. The frozen face kill is great. I love that. The one with the giant drill, you know, I like that kill. I like the Dippy Hippie. That's, you know, a callback to part 3. That's flying the ship. You know, somebody else who's obviously been resurrected because it's 400 years in the future, and he talks about Vietnam, so he's obviously been resurrected too. So that just cracks me up on that one. Honestly, I love this movie. I think it's one of the best in the franchise if you go into it with the right mindset. But it tells you ahead of time, it's Jason in space. This is supposed to be funny, and it succeeds. I want to say I don't understand the hate, and at the same time I do understand the hate. I just think people have, I don't know. I just, for me, this one's great, and it's number 2 on my list. Or number 3 on my list, sorry. Now we're moving on to number 2 on my list. Alright, so number 2 on my list is Jason Lives. I know a lot of people complain about it's too meta, there's too much comedy in it, and the fact that it's almost completely bloodless, and definitely, and completely and totally nudity free. But, you know, those things don't necessarily make you have to, you know, they don't necessarily have to be in there. You don't have to make those part of it. I would have said, other than before this one, I would have said that it did, but this one proved me wrong on that one. Folding the sheriff in half is one of the best kills in the franchise, and it's completely bloodless, and it didn't need to have blood in it. Returning Jason back to where he came from by sinking him into the bottom of the lake. It makes sense in the mythology to a point. You know, it's kind of dumb and dangerous, but it makes sense in the mythology to a point. I like the fact that there are actually kids in this one, so there was a real sense of danger with the kids. I like Tom Matthews. I love the Megan character. I love the way that she's portrayed in it. And she's probably my second. It's kind of a toss-up between her and Jenny to me as to which one is the best, which one's my favorite. I like the comic relief in the deputy. It works. I like the threat from the sheriff. and you can see that he's a really good guy and cares about her, or cares about his daughter, is just as amused by the deputy as the people watching it are, because he's the comic relief and he works. I love the little references, the fact that street is named after a horror icon, that the store is named after Boris Karloff, all of that stuff I love. The bringing him back with lightning and kind of a reference to Frankenstein's monster, I love that. As far as it goes, as far as this franchise goes, this one's number 2 for me. And I love this movie, and I can watch this movie once a week. So let's move on to number 1. Alright, so number 1 on my franchise ranking is the original Friday the 13th from 1980. Yeah, you thought some of the other ones were controversial. Wait till people see this one, right? So yeah, my number 1 on my list is Friday the 13th from 1980. First Friday the 13th I actually saw it in around 81-ish or so. I saw this on late night cable. Was staying over at my grandmother's house, and they all had gone to bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night and decided to go watch cable TV because they had cable TV and I didn't have it at home back then. And this was coming on Showtime, I think. I can't remember what they had. I think it was Showtime. But and I sat and watched this whole movie at 8 years old. And I enjoyed it. Again, born in 73, so all of that stuff from the 70s, 3 channels on TV. You watched what was on, so if it was a horror movie on one channel, you probably watched it, especially if it was a big one. So I saw Jaws, I saw The Shining, and I saw all of that stuff way back then. And when I was over there, I had cable, and I watched the first Friday the 13th one night, and I loved it. Went back years later and watched it again, and I still enjoyed it. I don't see it as a Halloween ripoff as much as a lot of people do. I get that they, took the holiday theme, the kids isolated from everyone else. All of that comes from Halloween, but as far as the story goes, Halloween's in the city. It's a suburban setting. Friday the 13th is in the woods at a camp. It's, in Halloween, it's high school kids. In this one, it's 20-something college kids. They're parallels, but it's not a direct ripoff. And yeah, I know, everybody loves the little quote by Cunningham. He saw what they did and wanted to rip it off, and he ripped off their success. He ripped off the holiday theme, but he didn't rip off the story. And I really wish people would quit saying that, because there's parallels to it, but really a lot of the way that the twist on this one works, and the fact that there is a twist on this one, not, Halloween, you know who the killer is from the beginning. This one, you don't know who the killer is until the end. This one, it's the mom, it's Mrs. Voorhees. And I really like that. I really love Betsy Palmer's performance in it. I like Alice in it. I like Steve in it. Actually, I like all the counselors that were there. Crazy Ralph is great. I mean, I love Crazy Ralph. That's really the harbinger trope that we have now. Is that it may not have been the first one, but it's definitely the one that really kind of popularized it. All the characters in it are solid characters. They all have time to develop. The pacing on it's a little bit slow, but it's appropriate for the time. I love the way that it was shot, with the camera at eye level. So, you see someone walking, you're never really 100% sure if this is point of view for the killer or if the camera, just there I love that. I like the fact that sometimes things are shot between cracks in the wall kind of thing, like you're spying on them, but it turns out that it's just where the camera's placed. You know, I just like this movie. I really enjoy this movie, and I think that for me, and I fully acknowledge that it's nostalgia. Like I said, I saw this one first. I was 8. I loved it. It was probably the first time. It was definitely the first slasher that I ever saw. And I know I had seen Jaws before this, and a couple other things that, you know, had been on TV, Duel or whatever. I probably saw that first, but you know, this is the first proper, legit horror movie that I ever saw. So yes, nostalgia plays a big part in that, but I think this movie is underrated. I think a lot of people just dismiss it because it's, you know, not Jason, because it's the rip-off of Halloween. But as far as actual movie making goes, I think this one's the best. It's my favorite. And that's my list. So I want to thank everybody for watching this long. The video ended up a little bit longer than what I meant to. We'll see how it edits down. But again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Okay, the power just went out. That really threw me off for a second. Alright, so Friday the 13th, right? Talking about all of that, the power just went off. It really screwed me up on my exit here. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Check the description down below for all my links, advocacy links as well as personal links. If you're in a position to help the channel grow, then I have things down there like Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee and an Amazon wish list. Teespring, I just hit the mic, so that's going to pop. Well, that threw me off. Anyway, y'all know the drill. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and let me know what your ranking on this is down below. Yeah. And as always, y'all be good, y'all be safe, and y'all have a good one.